Time for a Drunk Talk TV Music Industry News Desk Report.
Strap yourself in for where prohibited batteries not included, not available in State of Shock.
Hey everyone, welcome to another Drum Talk TV News Desk Report, reporting live June 12th, 2026. We're your hosts. I'm Steven Schinder. This is Shally Graf. Shally, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Steven. I've had another pretty long, busy week, but I'm very excited that it's the weekend. I've been enjoying the weather. It's been really warm here in Cortez. And yeah, just having a great time and excited for the weekend to start and to relax this weekend. So how are you doing, Steven?
Yeah, it's been a busy week for me as well, but I've had time here and there for leisurely things in between. So yeah, always looking forward to the weekend, But yeah, so we begin the show how we always do with one of these.
Now it's time for
All right, so my icebreaker question for you, Shily, and for anyone in the audience is what song, or it could be like a theme, has stuck with you since childhood, even though you haven't actually listened to it in perhaps years and years?
Oh, that's a great question. I think that I've talked about this maybe on the show, maybe it was even last summer. But one of the songs that always comes to mind when I think about songs from my childhood is Black Horse and the Cherry Tree by KT Tunstall. And it's a song that I know that maybe not a lot of people recognize the name of or even recognize that artist, but it's a song that is very catchy. And it's sort of in the chorus especially. And so I just remember, I think my mom liked it when I was a kid, and so we just would listen to it, and it just has always stuck with me. I really liked that song. So I think that even though I haven't listened to it in a little while now, so I think that's really like the first answer that comes to mind. What about you, Steven?
Yeah, mine is more on the edutainment side of things. When I was a kid, I would watch Blue's Clues, and one of the songs in that show that stuck with me was about the solar system. They're naming all the planets, and that's basically how I remembered the order of the planets in the solar system. And even though I haven't checked out that song in many years, maybe even a couple decades perhaps, yeah, it's just so ingrained in me. I think I even had like some sort of toy that had like, you would press a button and it would play that song. So yeah, some educational value there, I guess. Interesting how that stuff sticks even years and years later, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
All right, so yeah, that brings us to this next segment here.
Now let's see what's been going on this week in the music industry.
Garth Brooks became even more decorated for his over 40-year-long career. USA Today reported that last week, the Recording Industry Association of America awarded the country icon the first Artist of a Lifetime honor and named him the only artist in history to earn 10 Diamond Album certifications, which is more than 10 million sold per certification. During the small ceremony, he said, quote, "They say gratefulness is the seed of happiness, and I am grateful every single day to have been given this shot." Garth Brooks also thanked his wife, Trisha Yearwood, for her support, calling her, quote, "talented and beautiful inside and out," unquote. He also said that his 14-year hiatus beginning back in 2001 to raise his daughters was his last hiatus, saying that that they would have to drag him out. These awards join his previous accomplishments, such as being the top-selling solo artist in U.S. history with more than 200 million albums sold. So very exciting news for Garth Brooks. Obviously a huge honor, being given this very first honor from the Recording Industry Association of America is just a huge deal. And I think that kind of sets a precedent for future artists as well. So this is very exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Stanley Simmons, music duo consisting of Evan Stanley and Nick Simmons, sons of Kiss members Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons, respectively, released a single late last week titled Cellophane. Ultimate Classic Rock reported that this is the fourth single the duo has released since they began working together in early 2025. Their first single, Body Down, came in December 2025, followed by Dancing While the World is Ending in March and Temporary Love in May. Paul Stanley expressed pride in the duo during the 2025 Landlocked in Las Vegas event, saying, quote, "This is not a paid announcement. Wait until you hear Nick and Evan's album. It's unbelievable. It's hard to believe they came from us," unquote. The duo is expected to release their first album, titled Dancing While the World is Ending, on August 28th, featuring 12 tracks, including the 4 singles they've already released. The duo has been very clear that they are not interested in recreating the sound of Kiss or copying their fathers, but instead want to develop and express their own style, leaning into psychedelic and folk sounds. Now, having listened to this song and seen the video of it, it does definitely have that 60s psychedelic feel. I feel like if nobody knew their names and watched it in isolation, not knowing a thing about Kiss, there'd be no trace of Kiss in this. And why should there be? You know, they're their own people, so it's cool that they carved their own path. These types of throwback songs to like 60s psychedelia are not something I typically look for, but I think it's really cool for people who want that sort of thing. It really does convey that sort of vibe, I feel. So kudos to them.
Yeah, definitely. And I also listened to this song yesterday and again this morning. And while I didn't watch the full video, Spotify has the sort of video preview for the song up. And so I watched that. And that just kind of ties into the whole psychedelic sound that this song gives. Like Steven said, it does definitely go towards the 60s sort of trippy kind of sounds, but also incorporating modern technology and modern trends in some ways. And so, yeah, this is very exciting. And again, they definitely don't sound like Kiss at all. And I think that it's wonderful that they are stepping out of the shadow of their identities and their heritage and doing their own thing and recognizing that they probably have this musical talent and this interest in music because of the way they grew up and because of who their fathers are, but not in a way that makes them want to follow in those footsteps. So it's very exciting to see where they go next with this. 4 singles is quite a lot that they've been working on in the last year, and it'll be very exciting to see what the album sounds like.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back in 2019 when the German electronic duo Mouse on Mars invited then 83-year-old Lee Scratch Perry into this recording studio. Billboard reported that as they prepared for their duo for inviting him, they were told, quote, 3 hours a day is the maximum Lee can do, and take care of his health and no drugs or alcohol, according to Jan St. Werner. The duo, St. Werner and Andy Toma, were told to abide by these rules, but shared that Perry, quote, worked from 10 in the morning until 2 or 3 in the morning, and he was super happy about it, unquote, on his first day in the studio. The duo ended up spending 4 long recording days with Perry, and St. Werner said, quote, I thought he was going to live for another 10 or 20 years because he was very energetic, super concentrated, and didn't seem to be old, unquote. However, Perry passed away in August of 2021 at the age of 85. The duo had a lot of unfinished work from Perry on their hands and weren't sure what to do with it until last week, that is. The duo finished up the now 7-year-old music and created their newest 8-track long album, Spatial No Problem, which was released via Domino Records. The duo's longtime friend and collaborator, Louis Chudsoke, urged them to finish the music and release it, and his liner notes to the album explained that, quote, a deluge of recordings appeared claiming to be the last or final project of the Jamaican icon. These came from musicians and producers from incredible range of genres: trip hop, dub, ambient, rock, reggae. This range represented Perry's hunger for new sounds and ideas. However, his last official album project took him to Berlin, Germany, where he landed on the doorstep of electronic pioneers Mouse on Mars. He was looking for something that remained unclear. The only thing clear was that it should not be reggae, unquote. Perry's career began in the 1960s in Jamaica when he first released music with the Upsetters before releasing music under his own name. He pioneered sampling and helped create the dub genre, which informed the electronic genre. So this is very interesting. Obviously, I understand how my Mouse on Mars may have hesitated to finish the music and complete this album without input from Perry. But like their friend said, and especially in those liner notes, that it's really important that that is kind of his lasting legacy and that this is his last album as a musician before he passed. So this is very exciting that it's coming even so long after he passed away.
Yeah, they probably, it seems like they felt like they might have needed time before they could do more with it. So it's nice to hear that this is being done. And I mean, what a career, music exploration. The first week of June marked several anniversaries for the Rolling Stones, including the release of a hidden gem. Men's Journal reported that last Monday marked 61 years since the band first stepped foot in the United States. Last Tuesday marked the 61st anniversary of their first appearance on American television on The Les Crane Show. And last Thursday marked 61 years since the release of their song, I Can't Get No Satisfaction. June 6th marked 51 years since the release of their compilation album, Made in the Shade, which featured songs like Brown Sugar, Wild Horses, and Angie. Also, in a recent interview, Mick Jagger, who will turn 83 in July, shared that he hopes to tour again soon, but that it likely won't happen this year. He said, quote, I'd love to go on tour. I can't wait. I don't think it's going to be this year, but hopefully it's going to be as soon as possible, unquote. So, given that, we're this far into the year, I guess it's not surprising that it wouldn't happen this year. I guess we'll just have to see what happens next year, perhaps.
Yes, definitely. And this is exciting news and obviously very big anniversaries and milestones for their music. And it just proves that they are everlasting and going to continue going on as much as they can before whatever forces out there stop them. So very exciting for that band. Blink-182 is feeling nostalgic as they celebrate their 25th anniversary, and they're channeling it in the most appropriate way. Syracuse reported that the pop-punk band, which was founded in 2001, revived their MySpace page, myspace.com/Blink182. In true early 2000s social media fashion, the group posted cryptic song lyrics and photos of themselves from 2001. The page also features links to music videos and live performances, a playlist of top tracks, and more than 61,000 fans that they are connected to. Blink-182 appeared to be teasing a big announcement for today, which will mark 25 years since Take Off Your Pants and Jacket was released on June 12, 2001. The multi-platinum album featured hit songs Rock Show, First Date, and Stay Together for the Kids. And as of this morning, that announcement is the re-release of that 25-year-old album with 6 bonus tracks today. So very exciting. This is a band that I have listened to a little bit of, but not extensively. And so this album is not something I'm familiar with. But now that they've re-released it with bonus tracks, I think that will be something that I check out this weekend.
Yeah, there are definitely some movies in the early 2000s that I've come across where it's like their music is unavoidable. They had those hits, but yeah, and this whole MySpace thing. I mean, MySpace, like, what a throwback there. That kind of takes you back. I never really used MySpace, but I knew people who did before moving on to other social media. So yeah, it really takes one back, I guess is what I'm saying. All right, so here's another thing that might take people back. The Backstreet Boys have unveiled a major surprise for fans as they gear up for a busy summer on the road. Parade reported that the boy band announced their new single Bottle Up, which was released today, June 12th, and that the song will be featured in the upcoming movie Paw Patrol, the Dino movie. The film will arrive in theaters on August 14th. The announcement arrives as the Backstreet Boys continue a packed 2026 schedule that includes their ongoing Into the Millennium residency at Sphere in Las Vegas. The song was featured in the latest trailer for the film, giving fans a taste of what's to come. The collaboration will also introduce a whole new generation to the popular 90s band, an exciting prospect for the already busy group. The film is directed by Cal Brunker and will feature a voice cast that includes McKenna Grace, Terry Crews, Jennifer Hudson, Jamila Jamil, Fortune Feimster, Bill Nye, Paris Hilton, Snoop Dogg, and several returning cast members. So this is interesting that this is tied to a Paw Patrol movie. You know, I've never watched it. You know, it's targeted towards children, but it definitely has its audience. And on the surface, this might seem kind of a surprise, but I remember the other day I was actually talking with a friend about somehow the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC came up in conversation. I think we were trying to remember which one was part of the Tarzan soundtrack for a song, Trashing the Camp. And I remember telling my friend, Zach, I was like, oh, all I know is that one of them was in The Simpsons, the other one was in Arthur. And yeah, the Backstreet Boys were the ones who were in an episode of Arthur. So, you know, another kid targeted series. So that kind of just took me back to that memory of that episode, I guess is what I'm saying in kind of a roundabout way. But yeah, cool that they got this going on for sure.
Yeah, that's very exciting. And, you know, I watched Arthur growing up. My sister really loved it. And I don't actually remember an episode of that with the Backstreet Boys, but that's very interesting to know that that did in fact happen. And so I feel like maybe with that in their history, this fits in a little better. But yeah, very exciting for the band and for any parents who are, you know, millennials raising toddlers now and are watching this movie and being excited that one of their favorite bands is in their children's movie. So very exciting. On Wednesday, June 10th, the Grand Ole Opry hosted a tribute show dubbed Opry 100 Honors Don Williams, where a beloved country duet came back to life. Parade reported that during the event, Trisha Yearwood and Keith Urban took the stage to perform If I Needed You, originally a duet with Emmylou Harris and Don Williams. Before launching into their rendition, Yearwood said, quote, "I'm going to be Emmylou and you're going to be Don. It's going to be cool. We're going to do it. Let's do it," unquote. The song was written by legendary singer-songwriter Townes Van Zandt and first appeared on his 1972 album, The Late Great Townes Van Zandt. Nearly a decade later, Williams and Harris recorded the song as a duet for Harris's 1981 album, Cimarron. Their version of the song reached number 3 on Billboard's Hot Country Songs chart and topped the country charts in Canada. Wednesday's tribute concert celebrated Williams' extraordinary legacy. Nicknamed the Gentle Giant for his towering frame and warm bass baritone voice, Williams scored 17 number-one country hits during a career that spanned decades. He was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 2010. Yearwood also took a moment to honor longtime Grand Ole Opry announcer and WSM radio personality Bill Cody, who died just on June 9th at age 67. The June 10th Opry tribute also featured performances from Rodney Crowell, Brandy Clark, James Johnson, and Isaacs, all celebrating the enduring influence of Williams' music on generations of country artists. So definitely an exciting event, a great way to honor Don Williams, also a great opportunity to honor Bill Cody, who we will talk about later in the show. So yeah, overall very exciting, and what a great duo, Trisha Yearwood and Keith Urban, to perform that song and bring it back to life.
Yeah, quite the event there. Rock band Bon Jovi delivered exciting news that gives fans an opportunity to join the band on tour, in spirit anyway. Parade reported that the band invited fans to record and send in videos of themselves singing Livin' on a Prayer. Quote, "We want you on the big screen," unquote, John Bon Jovi said in the Instagram video, adding, quote, "This is your chance to be a star. Sing in Livin' on a Prayer. Get into the show. Join the band on the road. We're happy to be back and we look forward to seeing you," unquote. The video's caption read, quote, "Whether you're a pro or just having fun, we want to see you rocking out. Just hit record and have fun with it. No audio needed," unquote. The deadline to submit to the link in their Instagram bio is today, June 12th. The band will embark on the Forever Tour, which is the first tour since John Bon Jovi underwent vocal cord surgery in 2022. They will play a total of 14 shows, the first 7 of which are in New York City's Madison Square Garden. They will also play shows in Edinburgh, Scotland, and Dublin, Ireland, before playing the final 5 shows at Wembley Stadium in London. So this is a fun way to get fans involved. And Living on a Prayer is one of those songs that lots of people know, whether they're familiar with Bon Jovi or not. So really cool that they're doing this for sure.
Yeah, definitely an exciting opportunity for fans, and it's, great news that he's recovered from his surgery and is feeling good to go on this tour. So very exciting for many reasons. The Rolling Stones have teamed up with Marvel for a very special collaboration. NME reported that they will launch a special vinyl collector series for their new album, Foreign Tongues, that will feature beloved Marvel superheroes beside the iconic mouth symbol the band has had for decades. The album is expected out on July 10th and features guest appearances from Paul McCartney, Robert Smith, Steve Winwood, and the band's late drummer Charlie Watts. The album will also include a cover of You Know I'm No Good by Amy Winehouse. 5 cover designs will be featured in the collector series, depicting Spider-Man, Hulk, Thor, Wolverine, and Captain America, each with different version of the lips. Fans can pre-order them now. So those look very exciting. I actually sent the link to this story to one of my best friends. She's really into Marvel, really enjoys all of those characters, especially Spider-Man. So I thought that she would find this very interesting. And yeah, it's very fun story, and I really like the designs that they came up with.
Yeah, it's a fun way to do a little crossover with these two juggernauts of pop culture. All right. Rush have debuted their 50-something tour with 3 shows at the Kia Forum in Los Angeles. And I believe this is where they last performed when they last toured back in 2015. And there have been surprises, including their performances of all of the Moving Pictures album last night. And on the second night, which would have been June 9th, during which they performed all of the 2112 epic, there was this interesting moment that happened, which friend of the show, Rick Zaccaro, got a clip of, and we have it here. So we'll go ahead and show it. It's about a 2-minute clip. So check this out, folks. Okay, so what seemed to be happening there was, Getty's bass sounded like it was cutting out, and I guess he's trying to change out the bass, and his tech maybe didn't see him or took a while for him to tune down the bass and do that change. And sorry, I'm just like looking at what Dad sent me about this. He and his friend Rick talked about. Um, so Rick believes that the bass he was using was tuned down to a different key for the song, and they didn't have a backup bass already tuned down, so it took so long. But it shouldn't have taken that long in his and Rick's opinion. But yeah, this is just one of those things that sometimes happen in concerts. There might be like a little mistake here, but then they're able to just get the show back going again. I've seen that in other concerts as well, and it still ends up being a great show. And by and large, a lot of the reviews I've seen online about these Rush shows have been very positive. There have been skeptics here and there who still aren't sure about this lineup, but there are also a lot of defenders and a lot of positive praise. And these shows definitely been getting a lot of media attention, which is cool to see, given I feel like when Rush started out, it was kind of looked at as this kind of niche thing, this kind of and even in this Rush documentary, there are these fans who are like, you were kind of looked at as a Rush nerd, type of thing. So it's cool to see that they got all this stuff going on, and this tour is just massive.
Yeah, this is very exciting. I enjoyed watching that video clip. I know, there was a little mishap there, but they got it fixed and figured out. That's really awesome. It really is just the show must go on. But yeah, it was really cool to see that many people in the audience as well. They are such a huge band that so many people from across all generations were probably in attendance, and it looked like a really great time. So very, very exciting that we got this clip and got to watch today that Jethro Tull are releasing a remixed version of their 1999 album jtoll.com. Due August 14th from Inside Out Music, there will be a 3 CD Blu-ray set. Quote, the new reissue will feature the original mixes on CD1, new 2026 remixes from the Pineapple Thief's Bruce Sword on CD2, as well as a third disc of bonus material, including 6 completely unreleased studio tracks and 3 live recordings taken from the band's tour in 2011. 2000, unquote. The Blu-ray will have Dolby Atmos 5.1 surround sound and 24-bit stereo mixes of the album, along with 24-bit stereo mixes of the bonus material, except the live tracks. Martin Webb has provided the liner notes, and there will be archival photos across 36 pages. The album will also be released on vinyl for the very first time with a Gatefold 180G 2LP plus LP booklet edition featuring the 2026 remix, plus studio bonus material. So this is very big news for any Jethro Tull fans, and definitely exciting that they are doing this re-release and honoring their older music.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've listened to this album, maybe even like 17 years ago, maybe. That was when I was going through Jethro Tull's discography. But I listened to the song that they put out from this as a teaser, the song Spiral, the remix version. And while it's, since my ears aren't as attuned to the ins and outs of that album, given how much of a while it's been, I couldn't pick out what sounded different, but regardless, the song sounded really good. I feel like if it came out today and someone was unaware of that song and that album, they might be fooled into thinking it's a new song. So that's a huge testament to the music there. All right, so that's the music industry news, but we got this other type of news to talk about.
Let's see what's in the news at Jump Talk TV. Yeah. Let's see what's in.
All right. You still have time to use our early bird discount code for the Drum Talk TV Brilliance Arcade. Go to drumtalktvbrilliance.com and use the code ARCADE2, all caps and the number 2, at checkout to get the first year of the arcade at just $2 a month or $20 a year for the first year. And if you get the annual membership for either the arcade or the premium membership, we'll email you a code to give to 3 people who would get a free year. Buy one, get 3 free.
Oh, come on. Don't do this to your friends by leaving them out. Buy one premium membership or arcade pass and bring 3 friends for free.
That's insane.
Tons of online fun for all types of music fans and extra stuff for drummers. This is for a limited time only, so get it now at www.drumtalktvbrilliance.com. Buy one and receive a personalized code to give to 3 friends, and they get in free because music is fun online with more friends, right? Buy one, bring 3 for free. Quick, before our accountant finds out.
Sit around and watch TV? Nah. Come keep your brain sparks firing with our music-themed brain teaser, crossword puzzles, word searches, anagrams, and more, and of many music genres. Get your pre-sale pass now for only $2 a month or $20 for the whole year for the first year of unlimited play. Take a peek at www.drumtalktvbrilliance.com/arcade and use Arcade2 at checkout, and you are in, where the music meets the mind. Come on and play.
Right, so don't miss out on those discounts there. And to those of you who submitted to our May drumming challenges over at drumtalktvbrilliance.com, the winners will be announced Saturday, June 27th at 1 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. In the meantime, you have until tonight, June 12th, 11:59 p.m. Pacific, to get people you know to join or log in to the membership site and comment the word vote under your videos. Fan praise is 20% of the grading. And if you're watching and are not acquainted with any of the participants but still want to vote, you can go to drumtalktvbrilliance.com, get the free level or the premium level if you'd like, and go to the Jeff Porcaro, the Rush 2112, and the Led Zeppelin Presence tribute challenges. So yeah, definitely get in there and vote. One sec, folks.
All right, look, sorry, I let you interview and fan Q&A that we did with Slade drummer Don Powell. So go to Drum Talk TV Brilliance.com and become a premium member to check under archived fan Q&A are there.
Right. Yeah, definitely check out those fan Q&As over on our site. And over on Yes Shift, Dad and I did an episode on Monday comparing Yes's From a Page and Fly From Here albums. And we did another episode yesterday talking about Yes's JFK Stadium concert that took place on this day in 1976. Quite a lot of feedback and comments from that. And we're figuring out when to go live again next week with our review of the new Yes album, Aurora, which is out today. I've given it a full listen. I've listened to the album front to back once so far, and my impression is that this might be their most bold and experimental album since 1999's The Ladder. I really enjoyed this album. It's probably my favorite of their recent ones of the run of current Yes albums. Yeah, I'm very curious to see like what I might pick out even more as I listen to it and if anything shifts a little. And yeah, Dad and I will have an interesting discussion about that sometime next week.
Very exciting news over there. And regarding Drum Talk TV original series, Dan went live with Jeff Berlin yesterday for another episode of Rhythm and Lows, talking about bassist and drummer duos. After our news broadcast at 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, Dan goes live with physical therapist Janice Ying for another episode of Drumming Injury Talk. And coming up on Wednesday, June 17th at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, Dan goes live with audiologists Doctors Michelle Schechter and Eric Sandler for another episode of Plugged into Hearing Health. And then on Thursday, June 18th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, Dan goes live with Lou Calderola for an episode of Under the Influence about live performances. So very exciting stuff happening over on our channels, so definitely go and check that out on Facebook or YouTube.
Yeah, definitely. All right, now we shift gears a bit for this next segment.
And now a moment to acknowledge those who have passed. And now.
All right, so James Blood Ulmer, funk and jazz guitarist who played with saxophonist Arthur Blythe, passed away this week. Pitchfork reported that his family's statement said in part that his, quote, music was fearless and so was his spirit. Ulmer got his start playing in funk and R&B bands, playing stints in a variety of cities before moving to New York City. There, he was hired by the house band at the jazz club Minton's Playhouse. By 1973, Ulmer had become a mentee of Ornette Coleman, learning the latter's free jazz system of harmolodics, which quickly informed Ulmer's unique approach to tuning. In a 2017 interview with Bandcamp, Ulmer recalled a dream he had once about tuning all of his guitar strings to the same note. He showed Coleman, who began playing along. Ulmer said in that interview, quote, that tuning freed me. I could play without following or copying anybody. It was great, unquote. Ulmer released over a dozen albums in his nearly 50-year career. He also formed the Music Revelation Ensemble in the 1980s with saxophonist David Murray, bassist Amin Ali, and drummer Ronald Shannon Jackson. His last performance was in 2024 before retiring. He was 86 years old, so yeah, definitely quite the career and legacy there.
Yes, certainly. Bill Cody, a longtime Nashville radio DJ at the venerable WSM and irregular Grand Ole Opry announcer, passed away on Tuesday. Rolling Stone reported that he died after struggles with kidney and heart failure. The WSM social media announcement said in part, quote, a singular presence on the WSM AM Nashville for more than 3 decades, Bill welcomed listeners each morning on Coffee, Country, and Cody with a broad smile, a conversational ease, and an unerring ability to make both artists and audiences feel at home. He joined WSM in 1994 and had Charlie Daniels on as his first in-studio guest. He built more than a morning show. He created a gathering place rooted in his deep love for country music and the people behind it, unquote. Born Trent Klutz in Alabama, he took his on-air name from his childhood hero, the Wild West entertainer Buffalo Bill Cody. He began his radio career at a local radio station in Kentucky, WLBN 1590 AM, before moving through a variety of stations and landing his dream job at WSM in Nashville. In addition to his long-running Coffee, Country, and Cody morning show, he was a frequent announcer and host of the live Grand Ole Opry broadcasts on 650 AM WSM. He was also an ambassador for the Opry and emceed the radio show live from the Bonnaroo Music and Arts Festival in 2018. He was 67 years old. So he will definitely be missed.
Yeah, when it comes to radio, people get so familiar with that voice, and it becomes a whole thing. So yeah, definitely be missed. All right, so now we get into this next segment that's kind of going back in time to different
It's time for
years.
This Day in Music History. Why not the whole week? Because we'd be here forever. It's time for This Day.
All right, we're going to jump back to June 12th in 2019. Radiohead thwarted a blackmail attempt by releasing 18 hours of music recorded during the making of their classic album, OK Computer. Tapes from the session had been stolen by hackers who demanded $150,000 for their return. Instead, the band released the tapes in full, with profits going to climate crisis activist Extinction Rebellion. Quote, "For 18 pounds, you can find out if we should have paid that ransom," unquote, said the guitarist Johnny Greenwood in a statement. So definitely very interesting move to make. Just play the game along with the hackers, and it gives them no reason to hold this over them. So glad that kind of all worked out.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing about this, and yeah, what a wild thing to happen there. In 2015, Dave Grohl fell off the stage and broke his leg only 2 songs into a Foo Fighters show in Gothenburg, Sweden. He received medical attention and returned to finish the show in a temporary cast propped up while somebody held his leg. The rest of their European tour was canceled while he had surgery, and the tour resumed on July 4th in Washington, D.C., with Grohl performing from a custom-made guitar throne. So, yeah, sometimes these things happen, and the performers need medical attention. So, good thing that they went and got that for him.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, what a feat to come back to that show. I'm sure he was probably in a lot of pain after just having broke his leg, and still just willing to get out there and be there for the audience for that show was definitely a feat for sure. Going back to 2006, Prince received a Webby Lifetime Achievement Award in recognition for his visionary use of the internet. Prince was the first major artist to release an entire album, 1997's Crystal Ball, exclusively on the internet. So very interesting, very exciting. Obviously, now we can kind of see where that history of releasing music just on the internet starts, apparently in 1997. And what a game changer the internet has been for music. So definitely exciting that Prince was honored for being the first.
Yeah, that was huge. And in 2005, Pink Floyd announced they would reunite with former bassist Roger Waters, who left the band in 1985, on July 2nd for the Live 8 London concert. This would be the first time the band had played together as a quartet since the Wall tour in 1981. Yeah, I remember seeing a video of that, and yeah, it's one of those one-off things. Quite the feat that they accomplished there, all getting together at that time.
Yeah, certainly. Very exciting, especially since it had been so long since their last reunion. And in 1989, the Elvis Presley Autoland Museum opened at Graceland. The museum contained over 30 cars, which were owned by Presley, including his famous pink Cadillac, Harley-Davidson motorcycles, Stutz Blackhawks, a 1975 Dyna Ferrari, a 1956 Cadillac Eldorado convertible, and the red MG that Elvis drove in the film Blue Hawaii. So definitely a momentous occasion that this museum opened, and just some real great classic pieces of history for a lot of music fans and car fans too.
Yeah, definitely. In 1976, The Who, the sensational Alex Harvey Band, Little Feat, Outlaws, and Streetwalkers all appeared at Swansea City Football Club in Swansea, Wales. Ticket cost being £4, which would be $7. So yeah, it's quite the lineup right there for sure.
Yeah, especially for such low ticket prices, at least it seems. I don't know how inflation would have affected that, but definitely interesting. And going back to 1970, David Bowie released the single Memory of a Free Festival, which featured guitarist Mick Ronson and drummer Mick Woodmansey's studio debut with Bowie's band, bringing together the lineup that would shortly record The Man Who Sold the World. The track also featured Mark Bolan on lead guitar and backing vocals. So again, David Bowie, huge musician there, so definitely a good throwback for today.
Yeah, and we also get to another huge titan of music. In 1967, Bob Dylan's album Greatest Hits peaked at number 10 in the US chart. The cover photograph of the album, taken by Roland Sherman at Dylan's November 28, 1965 concert in Washington, D.C., winning the 1967 Grammy Award for Best Album Cover Photography. The original album package also included Milton Glazer's now familiar psychedelic poster depicting Dylan. So, yeah, that's quite the staple there in Bob Dylan's discography.
Certainly. And going back to Pink Floyd again, in 1966, Pink Floyd appeared at the Marquee Club in Wardour Street, London, England. It was at this show that future co-manager Peter Jenner saw the band live for the first time. Floyd went on to sign a management contract with Peter Jenner and Andrew King on October 31st of 1966. So definitely history in the making on this day in 1966.
Yeah, and Pink Floyd was kind of different around then. Like their music really evolved over time. And in 1965, the Beatles were included in the Queen's Birthday Honors List to each receive the MBE. Protests poured into Buckingham Palace. MP Hector Dupuis said, quote, "British royalty has put me on the same level as a bunch of vulgar numbskulls," unquote. So very interesting seeing what the reaction was at that time.
Yeah, very interesting. And going back to the Beatles just a year earlier in 1964, the Beatles arrived in Adelaide, Australia, and were greeted by an estimated 300,000 fans, the biggest welcome the band would ever receive, who lined the 10-mile route from the airport to the city centre. The group gave their first 4 shows in Australia at Centennial Hall, Adelaide, over 2 nights, playing I Saw Her Standing There, I Want to Hold Your Hand, All My Lovin', She Loves You, Till There Was You, Roll Over Beethoven, Can't Buy Me Love, This Boy, Long Tall Sally, and, of course, Twist and Shout. Temporary member Jimmy Nicol was standing in for Ringo on drums, who was recovering from having his tonsils removed. So definitely huge Beatles history there. Obviously, fans everywhere in the world were just very excited about the Beatles, especially at the sort of peak of their career.
Yeah, sure were.
Here's a reminder of what's coming up soon on Drum Talk TV. Soon.
All right. So remember, recent drumming challenge participants, you have until tonight, June 12th, 11:59 p.m. Pacific, to get people you know to join or log in to the membership site and comment the word vote under your videos. Fan praise is 20% of the grading, and again, that's drumtalktvbrilliance.com.
And don't forget to use the early bird discount code ARCADE2, so arcade in all caps, no number 2, to get access to our new arcade for $2 a month or $20 a year for the first year. There's also the buy one, get 3 free deal, where if you buy an annual membership for either the arcade or the premium level, you'll be emailed a code for a free year of that type of membership to send to 3 friends. So don't miss out on all of those chances, folks.
All right, so that'll do it for this news desk report. Thanks to the audience, and of course, thank you, Shiley, for co-hosting as always.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Stephen. I enjoyed it. And thank you all for watching either right now or in the archives. And we hope you have a fantastic weekend, and we'll be right back here next week with more news for you.
All right. See you all soon, folks.